What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Handle with Care podcast. My name is Sterling Atkins Dutro.
And I'm Kumar Davis.
And today we have with us a special guest, Mia, who is a student at Richwoods High School.
Do you have a trusted adult in life? And if so, who is it?
I do, and it would be my mom. I never grew up really close with her, but as I've gotten older, I've learned to trust her more and be able to tell her things, and just the way she reacts, how she handles things I tell her makes me want to trust her more.
How does she react?
She reacts not how I would expect her to when I tell her things that most parents don't want to hear. So more understanding and not very rash and rude and stuff like that. She's very nice.
That's awesome.
Can you think of someone that makes you think of your mom that in school, like a teacher, staff member?
Yeah, definitely Dr. Snow. She's very motherly.
For sure, I would agree 100%.
She's my second mom. You can tell her anything.
How does she support students?
She's a very active listener, and she remembers everything that people tell her, and she'll take it in, and she'll make it a point to bring it up and ask about it and how it's going, and just very, very motherly vibes.
She is a very good listener. She does remember.
And she won't just listen, she'll ask questions to know more about it. So she's not just listening because you want to talk, but because she wants to know.
Exactly. She'll give feedback, responsive feedback.
90% of youth involved in the juvenile system have experienced trauma, with 30% meeting the criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. What do you know about PTSD? And initially, it was related to combat. So now we are seeing a large portion of youth.
I just know PTSD happens after many people have a traumatic experience, which it may not always be traumatic to someone else, but to them it could be. And it's just how you grow up and how it affects you. And it's different with how you take it and let it impact you.
Knowing peers go through trauma, how do you view their behavior?
I take into consideration they have experienced things that maybe other people haven't, that it's going to cause them to react differently. And it's just important to have patience and to understand and be empathetic towards them, because it's hard to deal with those things, especially if many people aren't aware of what happened to them. They can see them as someone they don't want to be around, but you just have to take the time to get to know them and understand what they've been through.
Empathy and compassion is huge.
Approximately 35% of households with a female head of household and children under 18 in the greater Peoria area are in poverty. 43% of Peoria specifically. Children in low-income homes are likely to experience a greater number of ACEs. Why do you think kids growing up in lower-income homes are likely to experience multiple ACEs?
I think it's because it comes from not having a dual-income family or even two separate parents that you can rely on, because sometimes you just don't want to go to your mother for everything and your dad. And it's important to have two people that you can trust instead of just relying on one person.
Peoria is resource rich, meaning there is a multitude of services, but people in poverty still have trouble accessing them. Why might that be?
I think it's because a couple of years ago, I'll just relate it to something I'm aware of. A couple of years ago, my mom stopped working because she got sick. And then when she tried to go back to work, she was almost overly qualified for a bunch of jobs, but they didn't want to hire her because she was a woman, and these were more male-dominated fields. It goes back to you need to change your mindset and the way you view people, because if someone is qualified for the job that you are hiring for, you should be able to accommodate anything that they may need, with disabilities or anything with childcare. For a lot of single mothers, it's hard for them. And so they have to find jobs that don't really pay well, so it's hard for them to escape that poverty, because then they have to go back into debt with all their childcare and taking care of that with a single income.
Exactly, and I think it can even go a little bit deeper with people that don't even have a car to get to the resources, even a phone. They can't have their phone turned on, so they aren't aware of the resources that Peoria has. Homelessness as well, most of them don't have phones. They'll have to go into places and connect to Wi-Fi, but given their appearance, unfortunately, some people are we don't want you in the store,
And even then, with homeless people, it's a lot of times for jobs, you have to have a bank account or a place of living.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for a homeless person to be able to escape that homelessness once you get into it.
Exactly, and there are even homeless people in the schooling system now.
Did you know that kids often miss school because they lack the ability to wash their clothes and or shower and are too embarrassed? How can students positively impact students with those issues?
I think it's hard to be able to feel confident in yourself, like no matter what you're dressing, and when you don't have like the access to be able to like make yourself more confident, that it's really hard. But that's where you have to find people who are like you in the school system or like around you and your friends who won't judge you and like won't care what you're wearing. Because obviously there's going to be people who are judgy and rude, and they're just not good people to be around and associate yourself with. That's why you need to associate yourself with positivity and people that enjoy being around you, no matter what clothes you're wearing or things like that.
Exactly. Definitely find your group when it comes to high school and college, because I believe there's a group for everyone. It's just finding it and not falling in with the wrong crowd.
And that's where you have to find like sports and clubs or even your teachers. Your teachers will connect you with people who are like you because they see hundreds of more students than you do every day. So they'll know people on a more personal level, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to be able to connect you guys.
If you like fall in with the right group for you, and you're not, let's say, able to wash your clothes, you have friends, that's what they're there for, to help you. Yeah, and I do feel like people that aren't able to do that are uncomfortable because of scenarios like bullying and
Right.
feeling embarrassed, because unfortunately that's just how it is in
Like
school
I'm sure
now.
nobody wants to ask for that help, but when you need it, you need it, and
Exactly.
that's not something that you should be judged for. And there's people out there who will be more than happy to help you with these things.
Some good friends, they'll even probably offer, honestly, rather than you
Exactly.
having to reach out, they'd probably offer and make it a lot more comfortable for you.
3 things are needed to prevent depression: adequate sleep, adequate nutrition, and connectivity. Balancing school, work, and sports is hard. I agree. Do you get enough sleep?
Absolutely not. I go to school full time, and then I do work 3 jobs, and I also play a sport, so I am very tired a lot.
I relate. Mine is the sport, but I relate.
Yeah. But
What sport?
I play softball.
I love softball.
Yeah, I have like softball every day, and it's difficult, even on the weekends.
I know, it's like, as a kid now, it's like you have work, sports,
Yeah,
all
and especially as a senior, like if you're a senior in high school, you have sports and internships and a job. The adults we interview talking about sitting with students who have no one to sit with at lunch, smiling at them because it might be the only smile they see all day. How can we better support our peers to ensure everyone feels connected?
I definitely love when like my teachers try to make a connection, like Dr. Snow, and it's just important to like uplift them and just smile at them. Like literally, a smile will make everything's day. Complimenting someone or like doing some small thing for someone sometimes is just something that people will take to heart and will appreciate forever. And it'll give you like a special bond with them.
Exactly. A smile and even a good morning, they go a long way.
Exactly.
Like I would hate to see someone sitting alone at a lunch table. Like that's so unfortunate. I know last year I was sitting with a larger group during my lunch. It was like B lunch. And my group would see this girl that was sitting alone every day.
That's what we did too,
Yes,
yeah.
so we invited her over to sit with us, and we got to know her, talk to her and stuff, because it just sucks seeing someone feel left out. And
And they always end up being like a good friend.
they're
like,
cool,
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like the person that was sitting by herself, like we are actually really good friends now. So let's talk to that person that you see.
Exactly. And even like being that person, you feel like you don't have a lot of friends. When that person does come up to you, it literally like changes like your whole life. Like it makes it, a lot of the times when people do feel alone like that, they don't want to come to school and they're feeling very sad. I promise you, once you start talking to that person, you'll see them change so much, seem
Exactly.
so much happier.
You bring them out of their shell. I couldn't imagine the feeling of just sitting there alone and not having anyone to talk to during lunch, knowing everyone around me has people. So if someone came up to me and was like that support factor for me and allowed me to join their friend group, I'd
It would
be
make me feel
ecstatic.
like appreciated and
Exactly.
just like noticed.
Yeah, I think I did that in gym too. There was someone that would always sit alone, and we invited them to play whatever we were playing. with us.
Volleyball.
Yeah, probably volleyball. Yes. I don't like seeing people feel alone.
No one wants to be alone either, at least all the time.
Is there anything you want to leave with the audience?
Just try and be a good person, and it's okay to have bad days, but it's always important to reach out on those bad days and to overcome it and just keep persevering.
Love it.
Thank you for listening to the Handle with Care podcast. We hope this episode gave you a better understanding on what students and staff may be going through and ways to support them. Remember, you never know what the person next to you is going through. If this episode resonates with you and you need resources but aren't sure where to find them, they are located at the same page of the podcast.